video essay you are about to watch is incredibly disturbing. It analyzes the tale of three tragic orphans being constantly chased by a terrible actor with one eyebrow and a stranger eye on his ankle. My name is Lemony Snicket, and it is my duty to inform you that you still have time to turn away. There are much happier video essays on YouTube, such as the ones focusing on Logan or Game of Thrones. And if you're still around, I can't help you, but... Sorry. Hold on. I'm getting a call. A word which here means to summon either by voice, mail, or in this case, telephone. Not what you would name something, like calling your child Violet, Klaus, or Sonny. Go for Snicket.
Would you please stop doing that?
I'm doing the review just like you asked.
Lemony, I asked you for authenticity, not for you to scare half my audience away.
Authenticity. This is a phrase which here means...
For the love of VFD, please stop doing that.
Doing what?
Explaining what words mean. We're not stupid.
Nolan, will you just let me do my job?
Well, can you do your job without being creepy?
I'm afraid that's part of the job description. Nothing I can do about it. You could say it's unfortunate.
Oh, my God. Okay. Let's just get this over with.
Well, that's actually time for my break. I'm gonna take 5 and have some pasta puttanesca, and you can get started without me.
Wait, Lemony! Lemony! Daniel! Damn it! Oh well. Let's talk a series of unfortunate events.
Look away, look away, look away, look away.
Okay guys, here's the thing. I booked Lemony Snicket for this video because I thought it would bring some authenticity, but he's discovered an Oxford Dictionary in my flat, so you guys are stuck with me for now. A Series of Unfortunate Events is a children's book series written by Daniel Handler under the guise of Lemony Snicket. Take that, Daniel. It tells the story of 3 orphans who, after their parents die in a fire, they are sent from guardian to guardian, all whilst being pursued by the villainous Count Olav. Sound fun? Yeah. It actually really is. I was a huge fan of these books growing up. I was about 10 years old when I read the first one, and I remember being drawn to them specifically because one of my classmates had said, it doesn't have a happy ending. But not everybody feels this way.
These books are written with the kind of juvenile sadism of a child who hasn't learnt empathy for other people yet, you know, and then the smelly girl fell into the puddle of wee-wee and died. Hee 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 hee. I don't see the appeal in that.
Now, when I heard this, it made me immediately reconsider why I liked these books as a child. So I went back and reread them as an adult, and what I realized is that the Dom is correct. Young adult and children's books often get looked over because, well, they're for young adults and children. However, I think through a series of unfortunate events, Handler creates a childlike perspective inside a world filled with adults. There's a cool little role reversal in which the children are written as the only smart ones in the story, but near enough every adult is written as lacking a form of common sense. None of the adults believe the Baudelaires about any of Olaf's disguises that he takes on, yet they constantly feel as they have to explain every little detail about the world to them. All the adults in the series feel as if they're trapped inside their own little bubble and don't want to deal with things they pass off as childlike. Now, childhood and adolescence are periods where identities are formed. Adolescence, especially, is one of the most defining aspects of human life. However, the Baudelaires seem as if they have their identity formed already. This is seen by the book's insistence on each of them being related to one personal character trait. Violet is an inventor. Klaus is a bookworm. Sonny is a baby that likes to bite things. However, the story takes an interesting turn where it opens immediately with throwing these children into a world populated by adults, and thus it feels almost as if they won't develop further because of it. They will forever remain, at least in the events of the series, an inventor, a bookworm, and a biter. I don't think this series works when it tries to tell its story traditionally. And here's an example from the 2004 movie adaptation.
Do you remember when Mom and Dad went to Europe? And we thought they'd abandoned us because they didn't even write. And then we found out they'd written a long letter just gotten lost in the mail. Do you remember how guilty we felt for thinking bad thoughts about them? This is just like that.
No, it's not.
Why?
Because they're not in Europe. They're not coming back.
On its own, this scene is great. It highlights the theme of childlike hope being crushed by reality, but the spark of it always being there if you stick together seamlessly. But the problem I have with it is, it doesn't fit in this universe at all. The Baudelaires are notorious for staying deadpan and almost robotic throughout their interactions in the books. Whilst I can understand the need to make them more relatable for a modern audience, I don't think Handler set out to create relatable characters. Maybe because at this age we think we're often smarter than adults and the best at what we do, only to be frustrated by constant obstacles that we cannot control. In an essay by Maria Nikolajeva, she states that YA fiction attempts to convey exactly an adolescent's inability to understand the world and other people, the confusion and anxiety of being young, the discomfort about the profound changes in both mind and body. And yet, with a series of unfortunate events, it is less about the main characters growing up or changing and developing, but more being stuck in an odd world that never seems to be in their favor. And after all, I think that's what Handler was going for. Like I've stated before, I think unique vision is important in all types of storytelling. And whilst we don't have to like everything, we can't discourage difference. I believe Handler was writing a story in which every element of it appears childlike, but it's glossed over with a vast darkness. Alliterative names like the Reptile Room or Lake Lachrymose, immediately followed up by tragic deaths of adults that could have survived had they not forgotten the one thing everyone expects you to do when you're a child. Listen. What we can learn from a series of unfortunate events is how through this unique mix of deadpan and nihilistic worldviews, how it paints a picture so vividly dark that in the end, little moments of happiness shine much brighter because of it. And that's what makes this series unique. It didn't have to be some sort of epic. It didn't need a final battle to make the stakes work. And if you listen to what Handler is trying to convey, rather than writing it off because it doesn't fit a traditional narrative, it's this. A series of unfortunate events is simply looking at the world through the eyes of a child.
Hello everybody, I'm back. Nolan wanted me to let you know that there's a number of rewards you can earn by becoming a Patreon, including early access to videos, PDF copies of scripts, and much more. However, if you are not of age yet to inherit your fortune, or it's being stolen by a terrible actor, you can still help this channel grow by giving a like, share, and subscribe. We did ask you what you thought of a series of unfortunate events, and now we're going to read some. Jonathan Youngblood. Hashtag Jim didn't carry and Jude Lawed no. I personally agree, for obvious reasons. From Billy Pollahan. Dear reader, this series will leave a lemony and terrible taste in your mouth. If you hate lemons, melancholy circumstances, Wes Anderson, Neil Patrick Harris noises, and meta humor, then please watch something more pleasant on Netflix. With all due respect, Lemony Snicket. Hey, that's my thing. And finally, from the Spice Must Joe, what a fantastic name. I have not seen a series of unfortunate events, for the title informs me that it's a series, it's unfortunate, and there are events in it. There are 3 things I cannot abide by. Snicket's a good sort, though. A good sort is a phrase which here means...
Okay, that's enough.